Okay, hello, thank you for joining us. Some people are early, there's still 5 minutes to go before we shoot the webinar for real. So if I can just brief you please and ask you to make sure you have a notepad with you and a pencil probably, so you can ask or note any questions that you want to ask. So you can email us and give us some feedback. I'll come back in 1 minute's time and we can then move toward the webinar, which will start on time. Hello again, glad you're with us. There's some more people joining. 4 minutes to go. Those that have just joined, please, I've said to other folks, make sure you've got a notepad and pencil to ask questions. Everyone's with us that needs to be here. We're ready to go. 3 minutes for the webinar to start. I'll give you a call 3 minutes out. Three minutes to go, so 1 or 2 more joining us. Glad you're here, and we'll be starting the webinar in just a few minutes' time. Speak to you then. People still coming in, numbers are building quite nicely. 2 minutes left, you'll have some light music in between time. I haven't got a clue who composed it, so I won't mention that, but we'll crack on. I'll see you in 2 minutes. One minute to go, and we look forward to catching up in full when all the numbers are here. So welcome to the webinar. This is only an introductory webinar, just to sort of take you through the preliminaries, what we intend to do, how we intend to do it, and the benefit you'll receive by listening in and tuning into these webinars. Just by way of background, I've been in financial services and regulation for the last 50 years, so I'm getting used to it. And everyone in our team have worked with regulated firms and still are working with regulated firms. Our company, iFact, has been working with firms to introduce them to regulation, help them live with, adopt regulation, take it on as best business practice, literally as a habit. To get on board and be comfortable with regulation, it's not just one webinar or one event, it is a sequence of events over time. So we're running through a sequence of webinars. I'll take you through that sequence. We are regulatory consultants. We know our business, we know regulation. We're not estate agents. So we need to understand estate agents. We need your feedback. We need your questions. And then we can tailor the webinars to suit you. I'm in fact being joined by two estate agents. Katie, bless her, is here in the studio. Hi, Katie. And Katie comes from a background of a small estate agency on the Isle of Wight, started by her father. When it comes to client ID and regulation, which are completely new to them, it's quite different from other firms. Katie, on the island, has been there all her life. She knows her clients. She knows the vendors. Been doing a home viewing. She'll meet Mr. and Mrs. Vendor and probably knows them by reputation, certainly if they're business people. And we'll be listening to Katie and hearing her point of view, which is that this regulation is grotesquely over the top. Also working with us is Lars, and he's pretty well at the other end of the scale. Lars can't be here today. He's going to join us by telephone, so at least we'll pick up his questions. Now, Lars is a director of a very large estate agency. They have offices all the way from East London through Canary Wharf, the city, going down through the West End and Knightsbridge and Mayfair. So a full range of properties by way of pricing. They are letting agents as well as estate agents. They sell. And it's not unusual for them to sell property for millions of pounds, literally. And on some of these occasions, they may not meet the vendor. It's one property in a portfolio. It could be a company owning it. It could be an individual. And the buyer could be a corporation or individuals from overseas. Completely opposite from Katie. I think, Lars, I'll be asking you a very blunt question. On earlier conversations, you did say this regulation's coming in at a very bad time. Profits are down. You're working hard all the time, a great deal to do, and you have enough problems without regulation. I can understand that. This is the same for all the firms. So we're trying to deliver these webinars and the manuals and the guidelines in small, bite-sized sections, so each can be taken on board fairly comfortably, and we'll be taking it in logical sequence. That which you need to know, that which you need to do, and all the tools for regulation we'll be delivering to you over time. If I can really start with you, Katie, please. This is your first time into regulation. Can I ask you, please, your main concerns and why you think it's over the top? What points do you think are relevant and what help should we be to you?
Well, on the island, myself and my father, we know most of our vendors. We know them, we identify them, and the same thing goes for all of our buyers. We know them as friends. We socialise with them in the community, in the sports clubs, and so all of this ID for us is totally irrelevant. There is nothing in it for us, with no benefit, just hard, detailed, bureaucratic work. You say protect. What do you mean by protect, John? Okay, Katie,
it's a valid point. The word protect comes up in quite a few of the text and HMRC. I'll endorse that one because I've been doing this for a lot of years for literally thousands of firms, and I do know firms that have been targeted. I want to try and avoid the detail at this stage, but some firms, particularly firms like yourself on the Isle of Wight, you don't really think about these mega crooks and mafia crimes and big stuff. Once a firm targets you, they want you to trade property for them. Now, there is property on the Isle of Wight that some of the crooks will perceive as a nice little hideaway. Thank you very much. That would suit me nicely. When you try and check the ID, something somewhere doesn't ring the right bells, you're cautious, so you might just walk away and not go back to the client and ignore them. So if they want you to trade, they think you're soft on money laundering, they'll come back and put in the hook. Typically with an estate agent, then they put someone on drugs or they put someone under an enormous amount of pressure. So they'll put pressure on that person to say, you'll do our trade. Okay, if not, this person's in trouble. It could be your family member, it could be anybody. Now, most of the crooks going around are looking for a soft firm rather than a firm that's fully prepared, looking for a soft target. If the message goes out that you are prepared, you know money laundering, you know what it's about, you might well report it because you're all geared up. They might just say, walk away, we'll find somebody else to do our deal with. And that's how you protect yourself. It's yourself and your firm. Well worth protecting. And that's all the way through. So in your own self-interest, get a grip on AML. Well worth it. We seek to protect you.